being here today. Thank you for being on our podcast. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you about 502 Hemp and your story and why you're a renegade. We were talking just a second ago, and you were like, I'm definitely a renegade. And I think Maggie and I both wholly agree. So I want to give you the opportunity to kind of tell us your story and kind of how you decided to start 502 Hemp. How did you get to your renegade moment? A little bit about your background and upbringing, or how we got here.
So first off, thank you both for having me. This is super cool. I love it. Oh man, I never set out to be in the cannabis space. I mean, it just kind of happened truly out of medical necessity. So if you don't know the story, my husband has seizures. And he and I met back in 2009, both seconds for both of us. And one of the things he really didn't want to tell me, he's like, hey, I need to talk to you about something. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, please don't have another kid or be married. You know, it's that first dating. We met on eHarmony. That was kind of new back then. And he said, I have seizures. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, that's no big deal. In my head, I'm thinking, well, what kind of person would I be if I didn't date somebody just because they have seizures?
Yeah.
So, well, then he had one, and man, horrific. Like, if you never have to see someone have one, I hope you never do, especially somebody you care about. And it really changed a lot of things for me. And he kept having them.
When and where was the first one?
So he wasn't born with them. He's a veteran. And they think that it's definitely service related, like some kind of something happened to him, which we've learned later, and I'll explain that a little bit too. But he didn't start having them until he was like 38. So he'd been having them a couple years, and then we met. And the doctors, neurologists, they had him up to like 28 pills a day. It was a cocktail of Lamictal, phenobarbital, and Dilantin. And every time he'd have a seizure, they just wanted to increase it and just give him more pills. It wasn't helping. He was still having seizures.
And how frequently was
His were at least 2 to 3 a week.
Oh, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and they're the full grand mal seizures.
Oh, my heavens.
So
that is terrifying.
So he really is.
Literally is on the ground.
Yes.
Unresponsive.
Yes. And he has a daughter. And she was young. I mean, what? 7, 8, 9 years old, watching her dad, and it was just the two of them watching her dad have these seizures. So super traumatic for her too. But when I got in the picture and he kept having them, and I was like, I went to the neurologist. I'm like, what's the deal? I said, and he and I were talking. I'm like, have you ever thought about smoking weed? It might help a little bit.
The doctor said it?
No, I did.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I think you need to smoke, and there's other things you can use that I think might be a little better. So he actually went out west, learned about CBD oil, learned how to make it from marijuana, because obviously hemp wasn't legal back then. This is 2010.
This is your husband did this.
This is my husband. Yeah, then became my husband. We were just dating then, but I knew it was serious. I actually moved to Louisville. I was living in northern Kentucky, so I knew it was serious, and I fell in love with his daughter, who's now my daughter. I adopted her, but yeah, I have a paralegal background, by the way. So I was on the legal side of everything, but I partook in college. Like my whole sophomore year, there was a boy involved, but I made Dean's List that entire year. And I truly believe it was because I partook in the fun stuff.
Turns out you have to calm down.
Yes, ADD and ADHD. So it helped me a lot with that.
So you offer this idea to him. Mm-hmm. Was this with the doctor in the point? No, separately.
Gosh,
and he
separate.
took to it kind of like, never occurred to me.
Well, I mean, it's not like he didn't smoke before too.
Yeah.
So he was like, well, it kind of makes sense. And then what really bothered him about it all is the fact that the government owns a patent on cannabis oil. And it lists Parkinson's, seizures, and schizophrenia as the things that cannabis oil can help with. Obviously, there's so much more it helps with now too. But this was way back when. And that really infuriated him because he was a veteran and because our own government was, the big propaganda. It's evil, it's bad, reefer madness. Oh, no.
Our government
No,
lied?
right? No, never. Not that they're still doing it.
Yeah.
But he learned how to make it. So he was actually making it at home. It looked like we were distilling alcohol because he did it with ethanol and and my husband's a genius. So sometimes I think that might have something to do with it too, because he is so, you know how they talk about having all those windows open in your brain?
Mm-hmm.
His is insane about what he does all the time with his and just how he thinks. But so intelligent and engineer minded too. But yeah, we were
You have to be like, you know what? I'm going to go learn how to
distill
make
cannabis.
Exactly. And back in his youth, he grew himself some plants. So it wasn't like he was a complete, newbie. But the extracting side, that was definitely new for him. But I was terrified that the DEA was going to bust down our house, break in the doors. I mean, I was terrified of it, especially having the legal background.
Mm-hmm.
And
that is a real risk.
yes. Oh gosh, yeah. Even now, it's still a possibility. I mean, I just kept seeing everything we work for, But at the same time, he finally was able to get health insurance and help through the VA. That kind of changed all back in 2010, 2011. Because when he and I first met, man, he was so in debt from medical bills from the seizures. It was insane how much debt he was in just for health reasons. So he finally got the VA. They did a sleep study. Well, he had already started using the CBD oil that he was making. And they took him off all his medications, trying to induce a seizure. He didn't have one. He ended up going 5 years without a seizure.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, which was incredible.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And no medication.
So was
strictly
it CBD
cannabis oil?
Like as in, was it orally? Was he consuming it orally?
Yes, he was consuming it orally.
Did it cause a high or was it?
Not what he was making.
Okay, so even just like full spectrum CBD oil that doesn't cause a high was stopping his seizures.
Yes, but he was also smoking as well.
Yeah, well.
So I have to put that
also.
Yes, and yes, because I truly do believe that THC also helps with seizures.
Mm-hmm.
That it's, not just straight cannabis oil, CBD oil in general. You got to have some THC in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it managed to calm his brain enough to where they just weren't happening. But I'm not going to tell you it cured him because he still has them, unfortunately. And I think last April, they have come back with a weird vengeance. I don't know why. We're still trying to figure it out, but he's been having 1 a month lately. Sometimes 2 a month. July, he had 2.
Well, still much better than 2 or 3 a week.
Much better than 2 or 3. Yeah, and he would go long periods. So after that 5 years, in 2014, he became one of the first licensed processors in the state. Actually set up this whole facility, had to work really hard to get his license to do that with the Kentucky Department of Agriculture because they kind of had their favorites. So it was, I was terrified because in my head, I'm like, not everybody has seizures. Like, what in the world are we doing? What are we getting into? Morgan's getting ready to go off to college, high school years. I felt like I was kind of the breadwinner at that time. So I was terrified. I'm like, this is snake oil. I'm glad it's working for you, but who's this really going to help? And so I was the biggest skeptic. I am not going to lie to you.
It was your idea,
funny
and
now.
then you were like,
yeah, helping him. But but in my head, you're going to make a whole company just, you know what I mean?
It seemed like such a small spectrum of people that might want it.
Yeah, such a small spectrum of people. So, but in 2016, I had the biggest panic attack. I was driving my car. I about wrecked. I called him in tears, hardly could breathe. I felt all this, my hours had been cut. I was terrified. What are we going to do? We've got Morgan and all these things. And it really hadn't picked up for him yet because it was still in its infancy. He had to bring genetics in to grow decent plants because it was new. It was so new. Like he did 6 months out in Colorado, literally growing plants out there so he could bring them back here. So we could produce good product. So it was just whirlwind of craziness, truthfully. But I called him in a panic and he's like, would you just try the damn oil? And I'm like, okay. So he brought home one of his very first flavors and it was disgusting.
Let me pause you real quick. Okay. This whole time, it's your idea that he smoke, and then he gets making oil, and you haven't tried it yet?
I hadn't tried it yet.
Like, you said this started in like 2010, and we're in 2016. Oh my goodness.
Again, on the right side of the law. And in my head, it was like, well, this is for him and it's his medicine. I'm okay with that, but I don't need it. You know what I mean?
I love this.
Yeah.
I love this.
So you try it and it tastes terrible?
Oh, it tasted horrible. That stuff was so nasty. Oh my goodness. To this day, it still grosses me out. Now, we have way better flavors now. It is so much better, but he's come such a long way. I mean, in the beginning, it was straight, like it wasn't distilled as much as it is now and getting out all the chlorophyll and that plant flavor. Because marijuana stinks, right? We all know that. It smells. Well, those are terpenes. It gives it that unique smell. It gives it that unique flavor. When you take like pure without it being cut, it's got a very peppery taste to it. And then if you try to flavor it with artificial flavoring, oh, yuck. It's awful. So my flavoring is all natural. I made sure of it. Nothing artificial in it because I was just like, John, this stuff's gross. Like I'm a big girl. I like things that taste good. If I'm going to use it every day, I want it to taste good. So
what were you doing for a living at that point?
I was still a paralegal, and he was doing the processing.
And is that his job? I mean, is he making money at that?
Not yet.
Not yet.
And at that time, he also owned another business here in Louisville called the Louisville Poker Tour. So he's always been kind of an entrepreneur, definitely
kind of
on the
fringe.
edge. Yes,
Look at this
very
guy,
much
fringy.
on the
What's
edge.
his name?
Yeah. John Taylor.
Okay.
Yeah. So very much on the edge of different things.
If you're going to get away with something, you need a name like John Taylor.
I mean, right?
Counterculture guy.
Yeah.
Love it.
Can blend right on in. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So he was doing that. So that was kind of sustaining us for a bit. And then he sold that in 2015 and full time on the processing stuff. 2016, I started using it. And then I was like, it took me about a week and I noticed a huge difference. Like I'd been on anti-anxiety medication. I had a very, very crazy childhood, lots of abuse, put myself through college to get out of that. I knew that I was going to have a better life than what I grew up in. I knew it. Like there was no question about it. I was not going to have that same life as an adult. So that little backstory. So I've always had anxiety and I've always had issues like that and with the panic attacks. And I can tell you 100% certain, even with all of the craziness that I've dealt with since opening 502, I've not had a panic attack.
Wow.
But I guarantee you, I do not miss my CBD oil. I take it religiously every night before bed. And I do also use THC as well. It just depends on what kind of mood I'm in. So, but I am religious about taking the CBD oil now. Because it was night and day difference. I was on Zoloft for a while after my mom passed, and that gave me irritable bowel syndrome, which in return gave me more anxiety. I worked for a very bigwig attorney downtown. I had to leave like 4 times because I had literally missed myself. That didn't give me even more anxiety. Are you kidding? And embarrassment too.
Yeah.
So I was done with pharmaceuticals for him and for me because the pharmaceuticals for him were killing him. Like it wasn't the seizures, it was the medication.
So how did this make the turn into, all right, we're going to make a business?
So once I started taking it, being the paralegal that I am, I had to research and I had to know why it was helping me and helping him. 2 totally different issues, right? So the more I learned also with that whole patent, but I also started reading medical journals that were really over my head. And the fact that we all have an endocannabinoid system and the fact that the plant that God gave us literally provides that our body needs and should have never been taken out of our diet, it just clicked. It totally clicked. And the one thing that really got me, and I tell people this all the time, our bodies are designed to get rid of poisons, right? Our liver, our kidneys. If you drink alcohol, it immediately tries to get it out of your system. If you take medications, you have to keep taking those medications to keep them in your system. Heroin, you got to keep taking it. Our bodies are designed to get rid of it. Why does our body keep THC? It can keep it for up to 30, 45 days. It stores it. If it truly was a drug and truly was poison, our bodies would get rid of it.
Okay.
It doesn't.
So, not to interrupt you,
No,
but
go right ahead.
our listeners are really curious about how you launched a business.
So I asked John once it changed everything for me. I said, what do you think about if I started selling this and offering it to people and educating? He goes, you'd be great at it. I'm like, I'm not a salesperson. I'm like super honest, like to the nth degree. And he goes, you would be perfect at it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So I literally started setting up at fairs and festivals around town. And this was in 2016 before the big boom in the 2018 Farm Bill. So I was still terrified that I was going to get in trouble. And every time a police officer walked by, I'm like, oh, please don't come arrest me. Because I never got in the business to be a criminal, right? So in 2018, I just like, man, I really feel like I need a home for all of my people because I'd kind of gotten a following then.
Yeah.
I really needed a place where I could keep educating and people could come in and meet with me and talk to me. And also what really put the fire was one of our health food stores was carrying a brand that used butane to extract with. You know what butane is? It's a carcinogen. And I was like, what? That really fueled me because I was like, this is it's a health food to me. It should start with healthy ingredients. So that really fueled me. And I was like, all right, I'm going to try it. I'm terrified, giving up my whole paralegal degree, my career, not degree, but 20 years doing that. So it was terrifying if
So you
I'm
were
being
still
truthful.
doing paralegal and doing farmers markets and things.
I
And then you were
was.
like, you know what? We need to go for this.
Yeah. And I finally just like, okay, I'm done. I'm done being a paralegal. I'm going to go for it. And it was great. Like, I still can't believe I did it to this day because I was terrified. I really was.
And
You
no,
know, when you open the doors and you're like, are people going to come in? Like, I don't have a marketing degree. How do I do this? How do I get the word out? And I did everything.
Yeah.
I tried everything to get it out there.
It's a great story because it is such a real story about how businesses often start.
Yeah.
With a terrified CEO, same way I was terrified. And
Right.
like, I don't know what I'm doing. Who's going to buy from me?
Yeah.
And I loved your comment about being afraid to be seen as someone who's selling. You know, are they going to, I'm not a liar. Good salespeople aren't liars.
Yeah.
Good salespeople are totally transparent about what they sell because they want to find the right clients. And so that is also, when I became a salesperson, that was a worry in my head. Like, I don't want to be smarmy. I don't want to be hokey.
Yep.
I don't want to be cheesy. You don't have to be.
You don't.
You can just, you can
really
sell
don't.
your product exactly the way you want to sell it.
Especially if it's a good product.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
I
ones
think people know authenticity. They can see it and feel it and are attracted to authenticity and to someone who made a product out of a deep place of knowledge, love, desire. And I think I struggle with that too. I'm overly transparent, overly obvious. And when I'm talking to someone and I realize they don't have like a website yet, I'm like, I'm not sure podcasting's right for you. And I know that like salespeople would be like cringing. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not where they're at in their business journey.
Yes. You can only sell the way you can sell authentically.
Exactly.
So your best self. So
for sure.
Wow. So was that 2018 that you opened your doors?
Yeah, I opened
and your
the doors.
location is on
Mosier,
That
right
was
off
the
of
one?
Shelbyville. That's my first. Yeah, that was my
So
first.
I was telling her before we started that I had first interacted. I'd met Dee Dee once, and then I was meeting with a guy who owns a marketing agency here, and he actually was the one telling me how I needed to try Dee Dee's product.
It sounds like I need to try it. It sounds like a really interesting product.
And it was just a really interesting conversation. So the first time I walked through your doors, the thing I noticed immediately was the 4 or 5 people in front of me in line were all elderly. They were all elderly, and they were taking the time to explain and understand what those people's ailments were to guide them to what was best for them.
And that was always at the forefront of doing business because yes, I didn't want people to take these products and 1, not get anything from them, but 2, not know how to use them and use them correctly. And there are drug interactions. People need to be aware of that. Granted, I'm not a pharmacist, but I can tell you who you need to talk to who does know that kind of stuff and can actually give you that kind of advice. But that was just important to me because we were using it for our health I wanted it to be used for their health too.
So he's production, and you're front of house, sales, learning to run a retail store.
Yeah.
And how did it go?
Honestly, phenomenal. Like, to this day, I'm still so freaking humbled by it.
That's beautiful.
I have some of the most amazing customers, and they have really helped me grow. And it's humbling. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's real. It's real. We love it.
I feel blessed
Yeah.
beyond belief, and being able to keep growing too and keep offering products and knowing where I come from too. It's just, is this real? Like, is this really happening? Whenever someone tells me their success stories with the products, it just reminds me why I get up every day and why I fight with legislators and why I'm constantly trying to advocate for the entire industry. I do it for them. I do it for my husband, but I also do it for my customers, who so many of them are friends. They've become friends and family. And I think about them when I'm creating something new, like, I wish it kind of did more of this or did more of that. Like, formulating new products, to me, I do it for them. And I love it. Like, it has been the most rewarding thing I have ever done with my life. And I feel like I am exactly where I was supposed to be.
That is so cool.
Such a good feeling. I love those days when I do feel like, this is what God wants me to be doing.
That's so cool.
Yes. Truly your calling.
Yeah.
Your calling.
I think it's a commonality among the women entrepreneurs that we bring in here is like, there was this, it's not that business hasn't been hard, but there was this like pushing to get here, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're exactly where you're supposed to be,
Well,
even if it is hard.
Yeah, absolutely. The hard part is often the part that's the most satisfying.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when you think about, if you ever think about going back to paralegal, you're probably like, that's insane. I mean, it's a great job. It's a great career. There are people who are perfect for it, but you found.
And I was great at it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, but it
But
also.
those skills transitioned you here to be able to do what you have to do.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
So I wanna make sure that our listener who might not be from here or who might not know your product understands the scope of your business at this point. And so you are at the point where you have multiple locations, right? You make your own products, you sell other people's products. Like, kind of give us the scope or size of your company at this point. How many employees? You've got a lot going on. You do so much. Can you help them? You went from idea to like kind of a decent sized operation here. So kind of help people understand what we're talking about.
And I feel like I've grown where it's not been too much that I can't handle, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't take investors. It's all been bootstraps up, like truly bootstraps. So I did not do the investor route because I didn't feel that like that would be, I didn't ever see myself going in that route.
That's a scary way to go.
Yeah. And I knew I would be more local focused and not national. Like, that is crazy. But man, I've probably got about, I think 10 or 11 employees at my 502. And then I've got between John and I over at 812, we've probably got about 20 there, I think. 15, 20. I don't know. I do payroll, but I can't remember how many people we have. That's sad. I know. But yeah, so he's not doing the production here in Kentucky anymore. He kind of, I don't want to say got run out, but I do feel like he's a Indiana refugee. So, and we had the space at that location. So he has taken that part over, and he still has his own clients too. So we're separate businesses. 502 is all mine. But I also own the production side with him too. So which is kind of cool.
So you have decided to keep 502, the entity, separate from 812. And so 502 is in Louisville, and that is our area code, and 812 is in Southern Indiana, and that's that area code. And then you have a third business that is a production.
Yes.
And you all own that one together.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What was the decision to structure it in that way? Is that because of the cannabis industry, or?
Yes. And both states have different rules and regulations, and I didn't want one state to shut everything down and then not have something else to fall back on. So in my head, keeping them separate was a good idea. And then with the production side, that was his idea to make me his partner. And I'm like, okay. He goes, well, aren't we? And I said, yeah, but again, second marriage, I did divorce work. So I'm kind of like, still protect myself, and I would
Worst
mine.
case scenario.
Yeah.
Can't help it. Legal minds
You
work like
can't.
that. What's the worst case scenario? Let me plan for it.
Always. And I'm a Virgo, so we do that all the time.
I think it's just smart business at this point. Like whether it
Yeah.
is a marriage partner or a business partner, you need to have the understanding of how it works together and the exit plan in place, whether that be because of divorce or just because of wanting to move on or because of business partnerships evolving. And the number of people who go through some sort of business transition with a partner, no matter if that was romantic or not, is extremely high.
It is.
And you need to sort that out on the front end rather than when tensions are high.
Have an exit plan.
Yeah.
I also love what you did because you have 3 separate entities, which makes it easy for an exit plan. If you're like, let's sell the Kentucky store and focus on the Indiana store, or let's sell all the retail operations and we're just going to be production. So it gives you, you know, all kinds of flexibility in terms of a business exit, whatever that might look like.
Yeah. I mean, my husband talks about it every now and again. I'm like, but I don't want to exit.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love what I do.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe one day. And I do want to venture out maybe into other things. I mean, now that I've gotten that bug, you know what I mean? Of being in business for myself.
Trust me.
Yeah, you definitely know.
Once you become an entrepreneur, you can't help but see other things that you could.
And you're like, I did it once. Let me do it again and again and again.
Exactly. That's kind of what made me open Logan Street. So even though that is more like usually like a launch pad for people, for me, it almost brought it back to my original what I did.
Right. You missed that like little intimate space.
And I love it down there. I love the diversity of the people that come in and meeting new people too. So I've actually been kind of running that one in the mornings, the morning shift, but I love it.
So when I visit, that's the one I should visit.
I mean, if you're going to come, come in the morning, come there. I'm usually there. It's so funny because everybody over at the 502 was like, well, hey, we haven't seen you in a while at Mosier. I'm like, I know, I'm here to do payroll. You know what I mean? But that's just what you do when you get a startup too.
Thinking about you saying, you've happened to say it twice, which is like doing payroll. Talk about your transition from just being like product obsessed and trying to solve a problem to growing a team and the challenges of like learning the business side of the house.
Yeah, management.
Managing people, managing operations, managing retail employees and payroll and everything.
Well, I started working when I was like 13, and really probably prior to that, my brother worked at a gas station that was like a little grocery store up in Ohio. So I would go in and stock and do things with him. And so I kind of had a little bit of retail experience, a little. So it wasn't like it was completely foreign to me, but everything I did, I had to learn it, truly. Now, being in the paralegal role and the office manager position, I had already done payroll. I'd already done setting up businesses. I had already done all the legal type stuff like that. So that was no big deal coming into 502 and opening that. I think I had more issues on the marketing side and learning all of that stuff. I feel like I have an MBA now, that's for sure, without actually having that degree. That was more difficult, trying to get through all the legality, the hoops on that kind of stuff. And because in the very beginning, no one wanted to work with me. I mean, I was like the redheaded stepchild.
You mean
literally.
Like your insurance company and your banker and like none of your vendors really wanted to like dig in with you?
Yeah. I had, how many bank accounts did we have closed because of what we do?
Everyone was worried about their own risk in supporting you.
Yes.
It's wild.
And then finally I lucked out. I found an insurance agent. He's like, I got you. And I'm like, really? Because it was really going to be expensive for me to get liability and all that stuff. And yeah, he did. And to this day, I will not leave him.
No.
And I don't care if somebody else does make it cheaper for me. He took care of me when no one else would.
Absolutely.
So it's that kind
loyal.
of, yeah.
Be loyal.
Yeah. Loyalty. I know people talk about not having that brand loyalty anymore, which I don't feel that as much. I mean, I know people try other things, but usually my customers end up coming back to me, and I do feel that loyalty from them. And that is huge for me.
It's a great compliment.
Yes, yes. And
Great
I
compliment.
appreciate that. So, but I think as far as like the getting into that CEO role, I've always felt like a boss anyway. You know what I mean? But like a cool one.
Yeah, be stepped into that.
Yeah. So to me, it wasn't that bad. And most of my employees, I feel like we're all part of a team. I try not to be that type of boss because I had those and those sucked.
Yeah.
So I try to be like, we're all in this together. We're all working together. We're all working to help people. And luckily, with the exception of a few employees, all of them feel that same way.
Yeah.
So they've gotten in, they want to work with me for the right reasons too. So I think that's huge.
I want to make sure that we get to talk a little bit about what it's like working maybe in a highly regulated business, and specifically what's going on right now in politics and the government, because I have a personal passion for economic development and how we build strong communities and economies. And one of those things that I have witnessed time and time again is, even when it is with the best intentions, sometimes legislators, sometimes it's bad intentions, let's be real. But like, even when it is with good intentions, legislators can get in the way of things that end up really benefiting our communities and economies in ways that they don't understand beyond the product, right?
Yes.
And so right now there's a massive battle going on at the federal and state level. But tell us a little bit about what's going on, and then just briefly, and then how people can help if they want to continue to support a product like in business like this.
It seems like every session there's something new that I have to worry about, like literally since I have started in this business. Federally right now, what's going on is Senator McConnell filed a bill in one of the appropriations, where they dole out the money. And he was literally trying to ban everything. There's also a pending House bill federally that is pretty much mirrors Senator McConnell's bill. Luckily, with everyone coming together, Rand Paul actually stepped up and got it taken out of that appropriations bill. Thank you, Rand. But at the same time, Mitch says he's going to make, he worked hard to get it all passed, but now because of that loophole and we're hurting the children, which is not true, he's wanting to rein it all back in. So if they were to ban these products that I sell, and where it would only be CBD only, there is not enough of a market for that. It would literally hurt so many farmers, and so many Kentucky farmers too, because they've really done a phenomenal job. The Kentucky farmers have growing this crop. Kentucky has the best climate for it. And it is a $1 billion industry, not just for Kentucky, but the entire United States. So for them to now come in after since 2014 and say, oh, we're going to ban all those. What? Are you kidding me? So you're going to walk it back prohibition wise? We both know it's the same plant, right? Listeners, FYI, hemp and marijuana is the same plant. It's the Cannabis sativa plant. What the government did to make hemp products legal in the 2014 and then the 2018 Farm Bill is they capped the Delta 9 THC at 0.3%. Now, what maybe they didn't anticipate is that there's more than one THC in that plant, hence Delta 8 THC. Delta 8 THC is not a synthetic like you hear all the time. It's not. That plant is amazing and has hundreds of cannabinoids. We don't even know how many cannabinoids are in this plant, but they're discovering them all the time. The initial cannabinoid in the plant is CBG. She does a synthesis and makes all the other cannabinoids, like CBD, like THC, Delta 9, Delta 8. They're naturally occurring. I'm all about those naturally occurring cannabinoids. I'm also all about taking a CBD isolate and converting it to another cannabinoid. That doesn't make it synthetic. Didn't start up out of thin air.
Yeah.
It's a process, but it's not bathwater gin. It's not meth. It's not all the other things that politicians have called it. But right now, there's a push from Big Canna and even big alcohol to get rid of Delta 8 products and other quote unquote intoxicating hemp products. Look, I'm all for getting rid of things that where they're putting extra ingredients in it to make it where people will be higher from it. I'm not a big fan of using acetate and changing a molecule or adding hydrogen. And I'm not a big chemistry science nerd, right? I'm not for those kind of products.
You just want it to be natural.
Natural.
Yeah.
So I can agree with the politicians when they talk about that. However, they're also trying to eliminate Delta 8. That cannabinoid is amazing for people, and they use it for so many different reasons. So when they talk about trying to eliminate those and calling it intoxicating hemp, they're scare words. It's scare tactic. It's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. And Big Canna, multi-state operators from other states who do have, their state has legal recreation or medical, they want to eliminate hemp because it's cheaper. Because there isn't all that government tape and red tape and taxes and sales. I mean, you pay a lot to be in the medical or recreation side of cannabis, a lot. So those big players are losing money to the hemp products that do the same thing.
It's always about the money.
Yeah, it is.
Always
All the
about
money.
the money.
Yeah.
Always.
Is there something in the works right now, or right now you have in the state, they've removed that, Rand's pulled that out, and
Rand
so right
pulled
now
that
you're
out
safe, but you're
federally.
always monitoring.
Always. Well, and there is still, it's still pending in the House, but I have been told since it was removed out of the Senate, that specific language of the ban, that we should be okay. But Rand did just put an op-ed in the Courier Journal, I believe, that said, you know, he's still wanting some regulations. Again, I worked for our state regulations here back in 23 because I don't want bad actors. I don't want crappy products on the market. I don't want anyone to be harmed by it. I do believe this is a 21 and up product, and it should be behind the counters. So I actually, with the Kentucky Hemp Association, we worked to get those kind of regulations put in place back in 23. It involved a whole lawsuit and everything because they were trying to ban Delta 8 back then too. So if there's somebody trying to ban a product, everyone should ask themselves, really, why?
Are you an advocate for legalizing recreational use of marijuana?
I am.
Okay.
And the reason being is because even if people use it recreation, your body's using it medicinally too. It's not as harmful as people have thought all these years and what has been, you know, shoved down our throat. It's just not. And you can still use recreational products, use them medicinally, and not get as obliterated high from them as people think. But it's all about that education piece.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that I realized is that we need legalization for regulation. And if it's not got some amount of legalization, then we can't regulate it. And then that's when we really do put young people who are idiots and going to do it regardless at risk, rather than having clear boundaries set and clear products and regulations and third-party testing and things like
all
that,
of that.
right? Yeah.
Right. Well,
and what product are you actually getting? You don't know when you got it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And see, we had that was the one thing that John and I talked about in the beginning. I'm like, if you're going to do this, do it right. Don't cut corners. Get the testing done. Make sure. I'm telling you, we test our products more than most of the food out there. I can literally tell you what's in it and what's not in it, right?
Yeah.
But it just amazes me sometimes. I mean, and statewide, though, just recently, and I'm just going to bring it up real quick.
Yeah.
Do you know I cannot sell hemp beverages now? I'd been selling them for like 2 years. And
it's like literally the exact same thing that's in your gummy or in something else.
Yes,
it was
just in
put
a
in
liquid
liquid
form.
What's their reasoning?
They took it away from us because they wanted you to get a liquor license in order to sell hemp beverages.
Okay, the scuttlebutt, have zero idea. You could probably validate whether or not this was true. Was bourbon got upset that you didn't need a liquor license to have a hemp
Yeah,
drink.
I'm sure bourbons. I'm sure
Yeah.
all the liquor companies
All
are
of them.
thrilled.
Well, and they were losing shelf space at liquor stores because these hemp beverages are coming in, and the younger generations, they don't like bourbon. They like cannabis, and they like the cannabis drinks. There's no hangover the next day. it's a good time without, all the side
Vomiting
effects of
and
alcohol.
over-serving
Yeah.
and-
So, I mean, my sales had really just started picking up, and I actually have a lot of alcoholics that were using these instead of alcohol. And we fought, but unfortunately, it was a shell bill that got filed. We didn't know till like the end of the session that this was going to happen. Kind of really felt lied to by the politicians on that one, especially my own senator. And I'll leave that there.
Well, it sounds like you're getting a lot of skills in the political arena, and this,
Yeah.
this game is not over.
Well,
It's
and
definitely
I
not.
think as a kind of, since our audience is more about entrepreneurship, is like, as human beings, know that decisions aren't black and white, that the best version of our economy, the best version of how we do any type of business is in the middle.
Yes.
And if you can do anything to help your fellow business owner, if there comes a time where we can advocate, we should step up and stand up for the people and our businesses. But ultimately, like, this is a very big challenge for you as a entrepreneur and a CEO. It's not just running your business, it's also focusing on all of these regulations as a small business owner. It's not like you have massive lobbying and massive sway.
Yeah.
And so you have to learn how to punch above your weight class to
Definitely.
to stay alive. And I think that there's probably a lot of other business owners that want to innovate or create in a regulated space. We had River Green Cocktails, Danielle Mann, on up to talk about her gin drink and just like learning how to navigate ABC states and things like that. And these are things that entrepreneurs go through.
It's something that every entrepreneur, if they're thinking about what industry they want to go in, to think about that. I mean, my sister has a saying I love, which is every job has dirty diapers. So just making sure you know and understand what you're signing up for.
When I first did that, I did not know. I had no clue how this was going to be. I mean, I teased my husband that he had the rose-colored glasses, but I kind of did too. You know what I mean? Until I really started getting into it. I'm like, what do you mean they're going to try and what do you mean they're going to get rid of my products? Are you kidding me?
Especially when you went through the process of doing it the legal way.
In the right way. Yeah.
And you don't want to go back to paralegal.
No, exactly.
We want to end our time together with rapid fire questions. Maggie,
Okay.
will you pull out our notes?
So we're looking for some stories about things you might share with some of our listeners who are learning or anticipating and are in the same boat with you of entrepreneurship. What has been a powerful and favorite, we'll call it, mistake or failure? Something that you were like, that has changed the way I do what I do.
Oh, man. I sometimes get a little too involved with some of my employees, and I want to help them a little bit more than probably I should. So trying to have boundaries, I guess, with them, but yet still support and help them grow too. I had one employee and I adored her and went over and above and beyond, and man, did that bite me it really did. I ended up having to fire her, and I would have never guessed in a million years. So that I cried. Like, I was so upset when I had to do it. Like, it was probably one of the worst things I think I've ever had to do so far, even despite all the politics. Oh man,
that is a tough one to learn.
That was because
it's a line. It's a very, and I think every entrepreneur has a different line, but that, my husband is a little more on the chilly side of this issue, and I'm more on the, let's help them issue. And we always have to kind of get centered and say to ourselves, what's best for the company? Yes, we want to be helpful to employees. Their job matters and we want their lives to matter, but what's best for the company?
Yeah. Because the company has more employees that you have to take care of than just one.
And my husband was so great at the support and reminding me of that. And he goes, you have to, instead of saying say the company, because then it gives you that little bit of barrier. And I was like, okay, you know what I mean? But that was hard.
Yes,
that
was
was really hard.
What would you tell your new entrepreneur self if you could go back? What would you're about to launch this business. If you could say one thing to your early entrepreneurial self, what would it be?
Be prepared to lose a little sleep. Be
Amen.
prepared to fight for everything that you want. Be prepared for the unexpected. And how can you prepare for the unexpected,
You
right?
can't, but
Buckle
I think
up.
it's still good advice. We've definitely experienced that too. If we could tell our younger selves, like,
Expect the unexpected.
or that be prepared for the hard, that it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is way harder than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you work harder working for yourself than you ever worked for
really
anyone else.
do. And you think you got like a crappy job and you hate it. Oh, and it's not that I've never hated it, but at the same time, you do work way more than you thought you ever would.
Yeah,
being
I'm a terrible
owner.
boss to myself sometimes.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, for sure.
yeah,
I love it. I love it, but
Oh, me
it is
too.
extremely hard, and there is a lot of pressure that comes with it. Yeah.
You have more pressure on yourself than you ever had a boss giving you pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
high expectations.
Yeah. And I already had high expectations of myself anyway, but I'm bad about it.
And what's next?
Oh my gosh, I have no clue.
Okay.
I mean, I really don't. When I'm just getting Logan Street up and running, still building that out, but I'm really loving being able to support all the other vendors down there. So I think, to me, giving back, I've always given back to the community. Like, that's always been at the forefront of my business too. But this goes a little bit step beyond that and truly giving back to some of the other local people down there. And I freaking love it.
Beautiful.
I love it. I love it. So
Wonderful.
yeah, we'll see what's next. I really don't know.
Can't wait.
I think something to take away from what you said for the new entrepreneurs or the ones that are exploring this is that most of us who are on this side of, like, we have businesses, they've grown, love helping other people who are at the beginning.
Yeah.
And so surround yourself, find other people that have been there and done it. And because for the most part, we like to help
but
young entrepreneurs.
Also, I am going to put this out
young
there.
in not in age, but in
Experience.
experience. Yeah.
Also have some boundaries too, though, because I have had people use my knowledge to further their gain. And that's almost a slap in the face as well, especially when they use it against you too. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that happened quite a bit too. I had some, like, in the very beginning, before I actually opened the store, I was helping my husband with sales and stuff. And I literally educated them, and then they didn't end up using us or going with us. And it was like, are you kidding me? I just wasted like all of this time and all of my knowledge on you, and then you take it to go use it against us. So it's a delicate balance, because you want to be supportive of somebody getting in, starting something new and being a new business owner. I'm all for that. But when it comes to what I do, I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to give you all the secrets away.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
I think that's super fair.
Thank you, Dee Dee.
Oh, thank you guys. This was awesome. This
Good.
was awesome.
Good.
Yeah,
We
thank
loved
you.
it.
We love getting to hear your story and learning a little more about cannabis and hemp and how they're the same thing, and everything. So appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate you having me. This has been wonderful. Thank
Good.
you.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll see you around.
Yes, sure.